the Goal 11 exception. So the lots were platted before the land use rules came in, and it's hard for me to. 82% of the lots in the area are 2 acres or less, and 58% are 1 acre or less. So where I live, it's zoned R10, and I'm guessing that's because that's what the environment, that's what really should be out there. But there's people with half-acre lots, developments of half-acre lots and 1 acre lots, and you can see 58% of the lots are 1 acre or less. So it's more pseudo-urban than a rural area, and so that's the main reason we think we need a Goal 11 exception, is because we've got the lots platted as though it's more urban, but we've got this Goal 11 rule, this Goal 11 that says we can't treat it like an urban area. So the Goal 11 will allow us to extend sewers, allow us to put in cluster systems, allow us to centralize and collect the waste and treat it in a more effective way. And then when people find out that some kind of new pharmaceutical is actually causing some kind of problem, it'll be centralized, and we can deal with it in a better way.
So I guess Peter's going to be the one who crafts the language for the Goal 11 exception. And one thing that we wanted to ensure that it wasn't going to encompass property that wasn't already a platted lot. So we don't want to see any further subdivision down there. This is lots that are currently platted, only lots that are currently platted, and we don't want anybody to come in and take advantage of it and further develop what pseudo-urban rural, it's still rural if we want to, but we want it, only platted lots is what we're talking about here.
So I'm curious as to how the approach to the Goal 11 exception is going to be accomplished, and under which scenario are you going to apply for it?
So we met with, and I can never get the letters right, Department DLCD.
DLCD, there you go.
So we met with DLCD and DEQ, and Nick was there, Deschutes County, and that was, what, Monday, I think. So we've been meeting with them off and on, and this was kind of the final meeting to say, okay, we're ready to put these recommendations down. And so there's some, and I don't have the language in front of me, but there's some language in there that says you can have a Goal 11 exception for things like, and then it lists if there's an imminent health hazard and something else. But there's this piece, those are like examples. Those aren't, it doesn't have to be those. It kind of leaves it open to and other things. And so we're planning to do the and other things. And the and other things is these are half-acre and 1 acre lots. And the goal was set up after the lots were platted. And so the Goal 11 exception should be granted, and because of the nature of the environment and things like that.
The infrastructure is already there. The roads are there. The electricity is there. So it's not like it's something new. It's something that's been platted for a while. So it's a unique area in that way. So since it is that way, I think that prior to us, I think there should have been some effort somewhere to get that Goal 11 exception or explore that earlier.
The other issue we looked at is that the treatment area for each of these septic systems, when we call it a cluster system, a lot of it could be put on BLM property or on Forest Service property or on state forest property.
One of the issues we also discussed on Monday, a great meeting with a lot of people there, discussing kind of who does what roles and responsibilities for crafting the Goal 11 exception. Well, it appears that the county will likely be the applicant, will be the facilitator and drafting the primary document. We'll be relying on the Department of Environmental Quality, and Bob Baggett's shaking his head yes, to be our technical experts. As the Commission is aware, excuse me, as we prepared the large lot industrial lands analysis program last year, we relied on real estate consultants, Business Oregon, Economic Development for Central Oregon, and DLCD's Goal 9 expert for their expertise in how we created that program. This is similar in the sense that we're not the experts in this area. We can navigate the process. We can collaborate, coordinate, bring everybody together, but we're going to really need to rely on DEQ to provide the substance for the findings in the Goal 11 exception. And then what we would certainly like at the staff and the county level, and I think we all would like to know that the Department of Land Conservation and Development, DLCD, supports the approach we're taking before we initiate the process, because the last thing we want to do is think we have a proposal that we've all crafted and we think we're going in the right direction and then be surprised by the state agency that has standing to jump in and say, oh, time out. We're not supportive of that approach. So we want to continue to work with everybody on all of that. One of the other issues that Commissioner Chris just raised is what are some of the other parameters that go with the Goal 11 exception. And Mr. Ray offered these already. We've looked at the Jackson County Goal 11 exception pretty carefully. It's a different circumstance, but some of the mechanisms are still the same. And they do the same. They prohibit additional land divisions, upzoning for other uses, things of that nature. And it's important because once a property is served by, for example, the sewer system, or it could be a cluster system, all of a sudden you can do a lot more with your property. And that's not the intent of this group and of providing the Goal 11 exception and sewer cluster systems. The intent of it is to protect the groundwater for current and future generations. So they have that restriction in place, and then they also have another restriction. And I'm not saying this is the right path, but there has to be some way to designate the area so when somebody comes in, they know it's not just RR10, rural residential 10 zoning, but what is the mechanism? They have this boundary they call an area of special concern. Now, the city of Bend has an area of special concern as well, or interest, but for here it's geologic factors. In there, it's what's in the area in the Goal 11 exception. I'm not suggesting we have an area of special concern, but we may have some sort of an overlay zone or something that pops up that just identifies that it's in an approved Goal 11 exception area. So when people come in for approval with our on-site system or with DEQ and others, that they know, okay, this is an area that is allowed for other systems beyond just traditional on-site systems. So a lot will go into this. Of all the recommendations that we'll talk about now and in the months ahead, this is the one, as Mr. Blakinger mentioned, the county will be the most directly involved in, because this is the one that requires an amendment to our comprehensive plan, zoning districts, et cetera. Many of the others we will participate in, we'll be partners with, we'll coordinate. We may even be an agent of the state, but they will be other entities likely to be responsible for those. So.
I do have one more question, and this would be for you, Nick. What would this process cost to go through?
Deschutes County, if somebody were to make this application to Deschutes County, the fee for a goal exception plan amendment is $10,000. Now, a private land use attorney would often charge, we hear this all the time because people do come through with goal exception plan amendments. A private land use attorney would ballpark charge $40,000 to $50,000 to prepare the documents. Our fees aren't anywhere close to that. So I could estimate that it would cost us anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000 in staff time, in addition to the review process and going through the public hearings and extraordinary coordination with our legal counsel, public involvement, et cetera. So it's probably in the $25,000 to $30,000 range that would be the impact on our staffing resources and potential additional resources if we need to rent rooms or whatever the case may be.
And what about at the state level?
For them, it'll be their staffing resources. I don't know that they would be. We haven't discussed. We haven't discussed whether any other studies are necessary or needed or not. It's a good question. If, for example, an issue is raised about impacts on wildlife habitat or something that we're not expecting right now, and all of a sudden we do have to perform another study, that's something we would have to explore, because those aren't factored into these costs of $25,000 to $30,000. So we'd certainly explore that with DEQ, ODFW, Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, Department of Land Conservation and Development, others, to collectively figure out how are we going to approach all these issues. It's uncharted territory. Jackson County was uncharted territory, but this is a different avenue. It's called a reasons exception under the statewide planning program. The bar is very high, and the reasons have to be very specific so that anybody else around the county or region or state can't just pick it up and say, oh, well, look, they did rural sewers, so can we. It needs to be very specific and exact for our area. Great questions. Thank you.
And with those costs in mind, that's why we're asking for an area-wide Goal 11 exception, because if each neighborhood or each cluster system had to ask for that Goal 11 exception, it would just be cost prohibitive, and we would be right back to where we were.